Assalamu alaikum. We're going to start with prayer. Shortly I'll turn myself unto you, Allah. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I'm here, but my nerves is a little razzled because, again, I had obstacles, and I'm going to start prayer and pray that Allah bless me to concentrate. Shortly I'll turn myself in upright to you, Allah. I think this is all too heavy or something. I've been going over this information since 5 o'clock this morning. And anytime you come to a point that you can't remember your prayers, your head is too clouded. May Allah forgive me. I thank Allah for bringing us here today. I'm really going to touch on something that is so heavy, brothers and sisters, that I had to pray constantly that Allah gives me enough information to share with you without any of it being tainted, filled with truth. Surely all of it will be able to be proven. I'm going to start off with a quote from Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm going to call it quote of the day. Mr. Louis Farrakhan says, "I'm here now because it's my time. Time replaces. No matter how good you are, you got to know when it's your time. Nothing lasts forever but God, and know that you cannot get all the wisdom that there is to get. For if the trees were as pens and the seas with seven more were added to it as ink, you could never exhaust the words of our God." Yes. Again, welcome to the mothership. We're here to discuss the topic of UFOs. Today's topic is called UFOs, aliens, angels, or gods, because most of us know that these beings exist, but there's some controversy about what we call them and how we see their origins. I'm Sister Queen Michelle Forex, and I'm a member of the Nation of Islam under the divine leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I may peace and blessings be upon them. And I can never thank Almighty Allah enough for his coming and revealing himself to us in the person of the great Master Father Muhammad, the Mahdi, to whom praise is up forever due. And we should never ever forget the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, without whom black people in America today would have no knowledge of self, our religion, our origin, in the midst of a world ruled by Satan. So I thank Allah for all those three great men, and may peace and blessing and honor grace be upon them. We believe in all the prophets and messengers, and we make no distinctions between them, for they are one brotherhood. Well, this early evening, we have a special guest here with us, Brother Philip Muhammad. I want to introduce him in just a moment, but I just want you to know that for many years on the planet Earth, human beings have witnessed flying objects way before the white brothers invented an earthly flying means of transport. Nevertheless, the question still remains, do UFOs exist? So this early evening, we have joined with us Brother Philip Sinistar Muhammad. Brother Philip is a recipient of the Editor's Choice Award from the International Library of Poetry. Mr. Muhammad is a writer and author of the book Journeys by Sinistar, which is a book for all ages. Among his accomplishments, he is also a founder of the first black history class in New York City's Louis D. Brandeis High School. Our brother is also a hip-hop artist, and I believe he has an upcoming CD that we want to check out. In Mr. Muhammad's book, Journeys by Sinistar, he delivers with the revealing of stunning scientific discoveries regarding the moon, UFOs, and a messenger of God, within a challenging combination of morally based poetry and spirally fountains of wisdom and mind-bending suspense. I mean, you would love this book, you and your children. So when you have a chance, check out a prefix of his book at www.lulu.com/Sinistar. You can view his books and publications there. Again, www.lulu.com. That's LULU.com/Sinistar, SENISTAR. So we're going to bring Brother Muhammad to the public right now. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Philip. Are you there?
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You see, I was having trouble with my prayers. May Allah forgive me. I'm ashamed.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Lord.
It's okay. You know, I'm sure everyone understands how that can happen. You know, I always say that whenever that does happen and you're in the public, remind the people that when they were in the club and the DJ skipped the record, they didn't leave that club, no matter how many times it skipped. So if somebody is sincerely praying, don't leave the house of God or don't leave that word, because you will be reminded of the time you left the club at 4 in the morning, even though the DJ was terrible. This connection was sincere, and I think it was felt all over the world. So, may Allah bless you, sister.
Oh, praise to Allah. Thank you. And, you know, I said that prayer 3 times already today, and to get on here and be so full with what we're about to talk about is heavy. I was sitting there, and the light starts shining real bright past these thick white clouds, and I'm feeling Allah, presence and encouraging me not to be afraid. And I'm not afraid, but I'm like, but Allah, this is heavy. And I'm like, Elijah, this heavy.
Well, I tell you what, it is heavy, and many people who are experiencing these phenomena are contacting me. I just recently got a call from a woman who I've been trying to call back, who said she believed that she was being followed by them. And I don't doubt any of that, so I'm definitely going to contact her and, try to talk to her about it. But in order to bring your audience to a more comfortable level, I want to quote something from the Holy Quran in the 36th chapter. That's surah entitled Yasin at the 41st verse. I'm going to go to verse 40. Allah says, "Neither is it for the sun to overtake the moon, nor can the night outstrip the day, and all float in an orbit. And a sign to them is that we bear their offspring in a laden ship, and we have created for them the like thereof, whereon they ride. If we please, we may drown them. Then there is no succor for them, nor can they be rescued." What is there clearly is that there is a laden ship, and I believe that ship is the mother plane that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad mentioned in the book Message to the Black Man and the Theology of Time. It is in the Holy Quran several places, so we can rest assured that the most merciful God is in control. These are not entities that are operating outside of the control of God himself. So rest easy.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, sir.
All praise to Allah.
I know I gave the listeners a few details about you, but can you give our listeners a little more about you, Brother Philip, and about your book, Journeys by Sinister?
Oh, sure. There's so much to tell. About myself, I was born in New York, Brooklyn. I experienced life just like everybody else. However, I've done a lot of things. I recently went to Africa in 2010, where I was able to speak to youth from all over the world and continent via satellite to tell them the importance of emerging Africa's culture with hip-hop instead of merging what they think is hip-hop with their innovation and their skills. I went to Africa and I heard people using the N-word and it just irked me. I traveled 9,000 miles to Africa not to hear the N-word or the B-word, but to hear positive things and to feel the spirit of my ancestors. But instead, I was seeing people trying to act like gangsters and thugs. So at that point, we did what any FOI would do, and we just started teaching. And before you know it, Allah had cameras in our faces, and we were on national television, and I was interviewed by CNN. I spoke to world leaders at the Hotel Meridian, and this all happened in Dakar. And there's a documentation that we were able to do with video cameras, and that's available to watch at GWE TV Network on YouTube. And we documented the slave house, and that's just one of the things that I've done, and I find that to be one of my greatest accomplishments, to actually do an African documentary, because so many people don't have enough money to go to Africa. And I also was, when I went to Africa, the reason why I bring this up, when I went to Africa, the first day that we landed, there was a baby plane right above us at the airport. And it was about, I would say, maybe about 50 feet high in the sky, and it was right above us. A raccoon, you say? Huh?
You said a raccoon?
A baby plane.
Oh, okay.
A so-called UFO was over the skies of the airport. It was right above the airport, and it was sitting there, and no one else saw it. However, when we got to our resting place that was prepared to us by the Senegal government, one of the representatives that was there actually told me she saw it too, and we became really cool. That's Mama Gail, much love and respect to her, and also Queen Mother Dolores Blakely, who was responsible for our delegation, which went to Africa to inspire people and set up a bridge. And all of this complements the Exodus that we should be concerned with, and that's to find a better place than to be where these bombs that the baby planes have on them, according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that will meet the land here where we are today because of the sins of the world and the mistreatment of the children of slaves here in North America. So there's so much, and I know, I just hope we have enough time to let it all out.
Honestly, I don't think it's enough time because,
it's so much. Oh, my gosh. I wish I could just sit everyone down and just explain everything to them. But, all I can say is that these ships or baby planes or that people are calling UFOs have been identified. As you probably have already told your listeners, they have been identified by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was told their identity by Master Fard Muhammad, whom we believe is the great Mahdi, long-awaited Son of Man of the Scriptures.
Yes. And yes, and he gave us a lot of information about the planes, but I'm not going to jump into that just yet because I have some more questions to ask you. But how long have you believed or known that UFOs exist?
Well, in my second state, which is basically prior to my joining the Nation of Islam in 1994, I did not believe that they existed, but I never counted out that there wasn't anything else out there. I thought that it would be ignorant to look into space and say there's nothing else out there but us. So I always felt that there was another presence, and I always believed in God himself. So I knew that there was a presence out there. We just didn't have the knowledge of it, so I guess it came to as soon as I read it in Message to the Black Man, I believed it because I had already been confirmed that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive by Allah through the signs that he gave me, and that Master Fard Muhammad was physically alive. So it didn't take anything but the word that resonated in me for me to believe it. Now, that belief was married by the actual sighting that I had, and that's when I became a Noah.
Mhm.
A Noah with experience. That I'd rather say. So I was already a Noah because I knew that the messenger was alive, and that Master Muhammad was alive and in power and is the center of the universe. But when I came into contact with them in 1994, and then when I say them, I'm talking about the wheels. That was the above all confirmation that I was looking for.
Well, would you say that was the inspiration behind you writing your book, Journeys by Sinistar?
Yes. Let me just say, when I wrote the book, Journeys by Sinistar, it was inspired by that as well as research that I was doing on moon phases. I had noticed something about the moon, and it was very mysterious to me, and science of today could not explain it to me. Based upon the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who said that the moon borrows its light from the sun, I found something very mysterious about the moon. And I started to research it, and I did my own independent research, and I then put a video out about it. And then I realized that I have to have this documented, and the best way to document it was to put it in a book. Originally, I wanted to put out an autobiography, but being that this research was so important, I felt that I should put a book out soon. And I prayed to Allah and asked him, how can I do this? And he said, well, put your stories in it. And the stories were bedtime stories that started off as bedtime stories that I read to my child, and I formulated those stories into book form, along with award-winning poetry, as you mentioned, my award from the Library of Poets, International Library of Poets, which was the Editor's Choice Award, and I incorporated that along with the research that I had on the moon phases with stories that would inspire people to want to learn more about the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and understand what the Minister, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, was saying when he was talking about this dreadful wheel that we would expect to see in all major cities.
Yes, sir. And speaking of Mr. Farrakhan, because I was going to ask you, can you share with us as a believer in the Nation of Islam how you felt when Mr. Louis Farrakhan revealed his vision, which I also like to think of as an ascension, but regarding being taken up into a baby plane, or UFO as they are called. Do you remember how you felt when he revealed that?
When he revealed that, it was silence, and, we were just listening, and I felt his spirit, and I knew he was sincere. I knew that he had experienced a phenomenon, and I believe and know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Ezekiel of the Bible. He has done the work. Yes. He has made manifest the power of God in him in a way that is extraordinary, and his light is so bright, not by his permission or his will, but by the will of Allah, so that you could see the God's work in him. And through that, I was at peace when he was saying what he had to say about his vision. I believed it. I believe it to this day. And I know that he is a sincere man. I have met him personally. I know his spirit. That brother is such a beautiful man. I remember being on post with him and seeing him come to a hip-hop meeting in a wheelchair. I mean, just imagine a man like Minister Farrakhan, and you opening a door, you're a security man, and you're opening a door, and this man in his sincere heart is coming all the way from Chicago to meet with rappers, and he's rolling in a wheelchair. That hit me. He looked me dead in the eye as if to say, your life, your death, and your sacrifice are all for Allah, and don't think for 1 day, for 1 minute, that you won't be tried by what you say in your prayers. And he rolled in, looked me in my eye, kept up, and we had eye contact, and I will never forget that. And that let me know, among so many other things, that he was a sincere man. So when a sincere man tells you that he had a meeting with the Lord, you'd be a fool to doubt it. It's only after that that time will definitely make sure that you understood that it was real, that what he was saying is real. And I know it was real. It was confirmed through prayer. And every time somebody does say something like that, all you have to do is call on Allah, and he will give you another sign to show that his servant is sincere. And I received that sign. So I believe him to be 100% right and exact. And I think he's probably the boldest black man on earth to stand before the world and say what he said of a vision. And brothers and sisters, all of you who have dreams, know that when you have a dream, that's a revelation. It's not just a dream. So if you talk about your dreams openly and make mockery of his vision, you're a hypocrite. And some of us don't even dream anymore. And when you reconnect yourself to Allah, who is known by many names, you will find yourself dreaming again. But know that God doesn't waste time. Dreams are signs of the future. You just have to learn to decipher it and build up your faith. And faith is what Mr. Farrakhan represents.
Yes, sir, he sure does. And he has helped me in my journey when it comes to faith. I mean, he constantly reminds us where our power comes from and who to put our faith in and our trust. I want to ask you, do you feel that Ezekiel's vision, which is written in the Bible about the will, do you feel that vision that Ezekiel had was prophetic to the eyewitness testimony of millions today who have seen unidentified flying objects?
Could you reiterate that question again? You said, how do I feel about the vision?
Well, what I'm asking you is, do you believe that Ezekiel's vision in the Bible was symbolic to the unidentified objects that people are seeing today?
Yes, I do, 100%. This is why it is important for you to know the role of Minister Farrakhan as it relates to the book of Ezekiel. Many of us who came out of the church like myself never even heard of Ezekiel in the way that is taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because it talks about that which was not taught by our slave masters who originated Christianity as it is in its form today. It is now black people are reaching out for a black Christ, knowing that Christ is black, but they're skipping over the book of Ezekiel because they were not guided to that book by the slave master. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was raised up so that we would not have this slave mentality and not fear the other chapters of the book. And you should question the pastors. You should question those who say they represent God, and ask them, what did God reveal to you about the book of Ezekiel, and who is Ezekiel today? Because Ezekiel is supposed to play a role of the Son of Man, and he's supposed to preach onto the dry bones in the valley and lift them up. And the one who has lifted up the most black men by God's permission and has always given God who is the greatest, the glory, is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that was seen at the Million Man March, Million Family March, and all the marches that Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam had spearheaded, which spawned all the other marches, which reflects the days of the gathering, which is also mentioned in both Bible and Holy Quran. So yes, the Ezekiel's vision not only reflects what people are seeing in the form of so-called UFOs, which we know are baby planes, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, which now gives us, and in my book is one of the, where I mentioned that these baby planes are not unidentified, but they are identified, and they are IFOs. So, I mean, all I can say is that, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is that Ezekiel. You can check by his works. He is speaking to the bones. He is lifting up the people, and right now, the Nation of Islam is going into the streets to lift the people up, and he's doing the work. So if you look at Minister Farrakhan and you read the book of Ezekiel, you will find so many similarities it will be impossible for you to deny. And yes, these baby planes are definitely the same as the ones that Brother Ezekiel saw in his vision.
Yes, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, because the reason I asked you, because, there are actually some people who say, well, you can't say that the book of Ezekiel has anything to do with UFOs or even angels for that matter. In some cases, I mean, that's why I put that, like, people are calling them aliens. Some people say, well, they're angels. I've heard them described as God scientists. But here we go in the book of, can I read something from the book of Ezekiel real quick?
Yeah, sure. By all means.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Chapter 1, starting at verse 4, I just wanted to read that part real quick. It says, "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the mist there was the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire." Now I'm going down to 15 to 18, where it says, "Now, as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel was upon the earth beside the living creatures with 4 faces. The appearance of the wheel and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides and turned not, then they went. And as for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them, which I think could be windows. And then it says, and wherever the living creatures went, the wheels went, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Now, Brother Philip, I noticed you posted some videos over the Internet which shows evidence of unknown, unidentified, quote-unquote, aircraft. Now, I watched your footage. Brother, and I was very, very intrigued, excited by what I saw. Now, tell us about the sighting that you videotaped. It was on November the 2nd, 2010, is that correct, in Manhattan?
Right. That was one of the greatest sightings I'd ever had because of the interaction that I had filmed as well with the wheels. There were two of them, very huge, and they were diamond shaped or pyramid shaped. And oh man, let me just say this: I was in the Central Park area, Upper West Side, Manhattan, and it was about maybe I think it was late in the night, and they were darting in and out and behind buildings, and I was filming it. And you can see it. It's on YouTube on the GWE-TV network channel. And I started filming them, and they started just doing all kinds of miraculous things, and I'm catching it on film. And they were sort of playing peekaboo with me, like, going behind the tree and, like, I'm over here, and I'm filming it, and it's amazing. And something that I must share with you that I didn't share with anyone else yet, on this type of platform, I got tired of filming them. It drains you to do this type of thing. You're filming and you're just, in awe, and it's just, all the adrenaline and all of that. I was getting very tired, and I started packing up my camera. I think it was about 3 a.m., and then I had a feeling that I was doing something wrong. It was as if they were telling me, "What are you doing? Like, get back over here." And I'm feeling this. And so I said, look, I'm not going to shake this feeling. It is too strong. I'm going to repack that camera. I'm going to set it back up. And I set that camera back up, and I started filming them. And then the Central Park raccoon came out. A real raccoon came out. That's in part 2 of the video. And let me tell you how important this is to me personally. Allah knows that I love animals, and I had always been wanting to catch this raccoon on film. It's like a desire that I've always had. So when I saw that raccoon, I was shocked, and you can hear my reaction. I threw some sound effects and whatnot in there, people clapping and stuff like that, just to make it funny. But that's actual footage of that raccoon popping up on the set while I'm filming these huge crabs. And it was just amazing to me that Allah would bless me with that kind of gift, at that time. And you can't top that. You just can't top that kind of love. And I filmed it, and I felt really, really pleased that, So I was saying to myself, okay, I'm gonna pack this camera back up, and this better be good, because I know y'all sending me some kind of signal to set that camera back up. And who would have thought that it would have been because he wanted to bring that or guide me to that or guide the raccoon to me. I don't know, but it was just a beautiful thing. That was amazing. And the wheels that I saw, when you see the video, to your listeners, they reflect the exact vision, the amber colors, and when you look into the wheels, you can see at the top. You can see that it even looks like you might even see windows, and I believe that's what what Ezekiel was saying when he said that it has eyes all around it. These windows, you could see little patches of dark patches at the top, and those patches could represent windows. where the beings are, or, where I say brothers and sisters are looking out. And again, I repeat, they are our brothers and sisters.
Yes.
They are not anything spooky and big-headed green goblins. This is all stuff that this is interjections of Satan. Yeah, we want to make sure that brothers and sisters, that those are black people in those wheels.
Tell them, brother. That's right.
That's right. That's our people, and God is now ready to take over, and because the devil's time is up, and he has hid himself because we were unworthy to be in his presence. And right exactly. If God was walking on the street right now, could he allow everything to happen as it is? He would have to just take it all out, because two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. So now, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us, it is time for the occupant, which is Satan, to be removed.
Yes, that's right. Well, I noticed when you did a zoom in of the object, it almost appears as if I could see a life form inside the diamond-shaped craft.
Oh,
so,
yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me just say this. When I look at the wheels, I know that they use their lighting systems to appear to be stars. In the Bible, it says that they are a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. The pillar of fire is the stars, and they use their lighting to not only appear to be stars, but sometimes they can appear to look like other aircraft. They're very sophisticated. Recently there's a video on YouTube where intelligence analysts and intelligence officers of the United States Air Force are coming forward and telling us that these wheels have manipulated not only their aircraft, but also nuclear facilities and have shut down nuclear missiles. And this is what's going on right now in the so-called UFO world here in America, where you're not seeing this in the mainstream media. You got to go on YouTube and just watch these videos. But yes, people are bearing witness to this, and this is a reality that we cannot evade right now. As far as those beings that are in there, which are basically our people, when you look at them, you're going to see something, and when somebody else looks at it, they may see something else. I have more footage where there's a hologram image under one of the wheels, and this was one of the most miraculous things I've ever seen, where they can emit a image under the wheel or under the craft. And that hologram image, some people have said that it's the picture of Master Fard Muhammad. Some people have said they believe that's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when I look at it, I see the image of Master Fard Muhammad. And you may see something else. And this footage is astronomical. And I said to myself, well, what is the purpose? Why would Allah put an image of Master Fard Muhammad under the wheel? I guess it's a sign, and I'm just guessing at this point, taking an educated guess, that it may be a sign that when they do come down close enough so that you know that the time has come for them to truly take over, that they will show you that the messenger and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was 100% right and exact, and show you the picture of Master Fard Muhammad. As this is what I believe may happen. Again, I don't know for sure, but that is definitely amazing to me. Some of the things that I've seen them do.
Well, I noticed also in your video you made mention of the ships or the UFOs, as they call them, being shaped like the pyramids in Egypt. And, you made that comparison, and I thought, wow, yeah, it does. So, and even with the gold hue that it gave off at times. So, did you want to expound on that?
Well, I believe that the pyramids, I could be wrong, but it's possible that the pyramids were made after these designs. Like, it's possible that our people in Kemet were inspired by our brothers and sisters in the wheels to design those pyramids in the same shape of the wheel, to to pay homage to their creation. It's possible, but again, we would have to wait for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is alive and well, or Master Muhammad himself, or anyone from the wheel to actually tell us about this history and give us the actual facts. But the shapes are definitely similar to that of the pyramid. Now, let me also let you know this, that this diamond shape or pyramid shape, in some footage that I have, it goes away, and it's almost as if the lighting itself is not real, but the shape of the ship is revealed when the lighting turns off. And I could be wrong, because this is sophisticated. This is highly sophisticated technology. But I've seen those ships change shape. And there's another video where Melissa X Saintville, she's an MGT who is now a championship boxer. She and I were walking and doing an interview. And during that interview, a baby plane pops up. First it's round, then it goes into the shape of a pyramid, and then it's kind of like a blurry shape. It just changed shape and moved. And that was one of the most popular videos that I have on YouTube, where she and I witnessed it together. And you could hear us reacting to it while it's moving moving behind telephone lines, which were used as a great reference point to prove that this was not an average star.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have a caller on the line. Let's bring our caller on and see what they want to say. Welcome, caller. What's your name?
Hi, is that me?
What's that, sir?
Yes, I didn't know if you were talking to me. My name is Hugh. I'm calling from Virginia. I was basically just listening, and I personally have had UFO, paranormal, and near-death experiences and find it fascinating. I wanted to see, I was just looking up something, too, because when I had my UFO encounter not long after, I surmised that I didn't see it, but I felt it could have been this, and I'm just looking to see that gargoyles follow UFOs sometimes. Are you aware of any of that?
Well, sir, I've actually read such testimonies from certain people who have said they've been abducted and described some of the beings that are associated with their abduction looking like monsters, beasts, gargoyles. The descriptions vary. And, in my opinion, if you read the Honorable Elijah Muhammad books, like Message to the Black Man, he talks about how there are other planets that are inhabited by beings. Now, it would be so ignorant of us, meaning the human race, to think that God in his omnipotent wisdom wouldn't put life on other planets. So, therefore, it's possible that, as you said, something similar or appearing like a gargoyle has followed ships, because there's other beings out there. What would you say about that, Brother Philip?
Well, I would concur with what you're saying. We're a virgin to this reality, and we're just getting to know what this is today. And if it had not been for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we all would be using the term UFO. But I stand today as a knower, and I will tell you, sir, that these things are very real, and there's something else that you must know. Now, the thing about gargoyles and things of that nature, I don't believe that they exist. They're not mentioned in either the scriptures, or I have never seen anything like that and anything that grotesque. But people can be like gargoyles right here in America and right here throughout the world of all hues. They can be like monsters the way we behave. But I don't think that the people in the baby planes have any malice in their hearts, and I don't think that they mean us any harm. But they are here to remove evil and wickedness, and they are tired and waiting patiently. for the command of God to execute that judgment. And we are in it today. But I don't believe that that there are any other gargoyles but the crazy people out here who are killing other people and, fooling around with the life germ and things of that nature and just interjecting negativity into our lifestyles. As human beings, we deserve better.
Yes, sir.
I want to agree. I'm actually standing on my truth and working on a big mission and vision of bringing spirituality into global economics and combining it with unconditional love, a whole new paradigm to make everything ethical, legal, and moral and transparent.
Okay, that's positive. That's positive, and that's wonderful. And if you really if you ever wanted them to, or God to reveal Himself to you, just be patient and pray. If
I can share my name, you'll see some interesting things on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hugh, H-U-G-H. The last name is Traulsen, T like Tom, R-A-U-L-S-E-N like Nancy. If you put a .com, it will bring you to one site. If you click on historical articles, you'll see a front page Wall Street Journal article from back in 1983 where I exposed a former federal government bureaucrat for fraud indirectly. It eventually led to the resignation of Jim Wright from Speaker of the House, the third highest office in the country, in shame, and the attachments from the Wall Street Journal article and other items are there too, and there's other things on the internet also. But the UFO encounter I had was around the early 80s too. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hudson Valley sightings in New York, as I was working.
I believe I did look them up at one time.
There's reenactments, and it's pretty accurate on YouTube, the triangular ships. But I was living in Brewster, New York at the time, and that's why I was asking about the gargoyles too, because if you Google Brewster, B-R-E-W-S-T-E-R, New York, and put Satan caves, there's a lot of caves up there, a lot of weird stuff that goes on. And there's a gentleman also who, I think he's still in the area, but his name is Dean, D-E-A-N, Fagerstrom, F-A-G-E-S-T-R-O-M, I think it is, and he did channel drawings over in Germany, and nobody can describe what these things are, but he's got one of these things, just looks like a stick or something. It's supposed to be one of the most dangerous things known to mankind. Fascinating drawings.
Well, let me just say one other thing before you go. I wanted to say that sometimes when you find fear in something that needs to be studied by the masses, it is interjected by those who do not want the masses to know the truth of it. In other words, when you find yourself, experiencing wisdom that leads you through something that's ugly and painful to look at, like a gargoyle, it turns people away from the beauty that God is trying to reveal to them.
Right.
So before we interject anything out there, any type of negative out there like that, we have to have actual facts. What I'm bringing to you through my book, Journeys by Sinistar, is actual facts. I've seen them. I've interacted with them. These are real. These so-called UFOs are what Master Prophet Muhammad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad revealed to us as that they are. They are called baby planes by God Himself, and the mother ship that we call the mothership here in America. That word comes out of Hollywood. He calls it the mother plane.
Right.
And these are the English terms for that which would be better described in the Arabic language. So I would say that they are real, and I could tell you from my personal experience, as you're testifying that you've seen them, and from what I've experienced, I can say that we are ready for a new day in this world and universe, and that's a great blessing. So, stay positive, be good for the rest of your life, because the only people that are going to make it past this and be able to meet them are those who commit to being good for the rest of their lives.
I concur completely. It's really establishing getting out of your head and getting a heart-to-God connection asking for divine guidance on a daily basis, always being in gratitude no matter what your circumstances, and taking actions to help yourself and help your family and friends and all of mankind at the same time.
That's right. I agree. It's easy to teach us or nothing.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your comments, sir, and your testimony. Believe me, we feel humbled to have you share that with us. We have a lot more information we want to get out to the callers, so I hope you keep listening. Brother Philip, I wanted to ask you, have you ever noticed that any reports about there being a certain time of the day that people tend to experience sightings of unidentified objects?
Well, the time of the days really don't matter. I remember once I was on a bus and I seen a cloud just forming. And then I saw one pop up out of the cloud, did a peekaboo move and jump back into the cloud. And I was on the bus with my son. I said, we got to get off this bus. So I get him off the bus, and I'm looking at the cloud. It already formed. And the baby plane is in there, but it won't come back out. I'm like, oh, man, you missed that. But we still were able to see the cloud form. And that was amazing. That happened during the day. We saw a cloud being made. I went on the Internet, and someone actually filmed that, and it's on there. If you want to see just keyword, cloud made by UFO. And someone has an authentic video of a baby plane making a cloud. And again, go back to the scriptures where it talks about these wheels. They're a pillar of fire by night and cloud by day at BibleGateway.com, and you'll see that scripture pop up. And, it doesn't matter what time of day. If you really want to see one, I can say is just be patient. Go out there. It's better to go at night. It's easier to see them at night. And just call on God and ask him to reveal them to you. And just be patient and be still, take a deep breath, and wait. And let me just say this. There's a sighting that I would like to reveal to you that happened to me. Long time ago, I believe it was in 95. I was blessed to go. I'm a former Boy Scout of America. I used to be a Boy Scout, and I was able to be a assistant scoutmaster on a voyage with some Cub Scouts. It was a blessing. It happened around my birthday. I believe it was in 95. Anyway, I was really tired. It was really late at night. I was watching a baby plane at, I believe it was Couch Camp. And we were at the camp, and I believe that's in Jersey. And I'm looking at this baby plane, and it's really, really close to me. Very, very close to me. And the thing about the baby planes that people call UFOs, their light, the light is so strange that it's hard to tell where it is in proximity to you. I almost felt like I could touch it with my hand, but it wasn't that close. This is how strange the light is. Anyway, I became very tired, and I almost fell asleep on the rock that I was sitting on, so I started to walk back to my camp. And then I went and I got in my tent, and the tent has a window that zips up and zips down. When I sat in my tent, I heard something. I heard the leaves crunching, like somebody was walking on the leaves. And this is so intense. All I can say is that somebody was out there. And then the baby plane that I was watching, it moved right into the center of the window of the tent. So it has an opening, but it moved right into the center where I could see it. And then I saw a shadow of a being actually right there coming via light onto the tent. So the shadow was there, the movement, I heard the leaves crunching, and you know what I did? The funny thing was I was so tired, I said, look, brothers, I'm too tired for this. Maybe we could do it tomorrow night, and I fell asleep. And I regret that to this day, but I was that tired. I was hiking up and down trails with Cub Scouts all day. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. I was exhausted, and I fell asleep. And I woke up. I said, oh, my God. Oh, Allah. And I said, man, I should not have. Why did I fall asleep? You know, and that was that. That was one of the greatest experiences. I've had greater experiences than that, but I'll save that for another time. That's why I want to go into my book, because Journeys by Sinistar, which is available on all major outlets. It's at Barnes & Nobles. It's at Amazon.com. Also, again, as you mentioned, Lulu.com/Sinistar. That book gives you insight into the mother plane. I'm going to tell you now, I've never been in the mother plane. I've never flown a baby plane. And I have to say that because when you read this book, it's almost as if you're reading it from somebody who's actually been there. I have not been there. But I wrote a story in the book that is dedicated to student minister Ishmael Muhammad, and also dedicated to Master Farad Muhammad. I called the story that is within Journeys by Sinistar, Ishmael Meets the Messenger. It's about a child who meets the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the mother plane and experiences all that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad revealed to us about the mother plane, including the new animals that are on the wheel, the society, and also Ishmael, little brother Ishmael, gets his own baby plane in the story. These stories are developed so that you can understand how peaceful it is to have an encounter with that which you are about to experience. And some of you have experienced, like the caller who just was on the line. And that's why I made this book, so that people who are very peaceful, who don't like conflicts, who fear religion because it's hard for them to debate and defend that which they don't understand, this book helps them to gain that faith, knowing that the intervention that we pray for comes in the form, a physical form. And in these stories, there's other stories, for instance, like the story I'm Scared, which is in the book, which is about a little girl who is learning about God's intervention through an animal. And it's like you really have to strengthen people with faith before you start to tell them about these great entities that are amongst us today, these baby planes. Because the scripture says that hearts will fail for the things that you see because you did not believe. That came out of the mouth of Jesus of 2,000 years ago. And we don't want our people's hearts to fail, not our sincere people here on the planet Earth. So we have to wean them and baby feed them into this reality, and that's what this book represents. And I also talk about the moon phases, and I also talk about my experiences with studying the moon phases. And the reason why I had to document my research is because I realized that the mystery of the moon had to be revealed, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the best peek into it. And I had to document my research because I tapped into something, and you'll read about that as well in the book.
Yes, sir. I'm going to read a couple things by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for Message to the Black Man regarding our mother plane. It's written, the mother plane is made of the finest steel in Asia.
Right.
It was made on the island of Nippon, which is Japan, in 1929, and it also took flight that same year. And it says black, brown, red, and yellow scientists built the mother plane. And the purpose of the mother plane is to destroy the most wicked place ever to be on the planet Earth at any time, America, the great mystery Babylon. And her speed is up to 9,000 miles per hour. Her flying ability is 9,000 miles per hour in any direction, up and down, to and fro, without even having to make a turn. It can move in any direction without turning. And her contents,
that's true.
Yes, sir. And her contents, 1,500 small circular planes, known as baby planes, or as the devil calls them, flying saucers. And those small planes have 3 bombs on them each. They also shoot flames out of them. And it says the black men who pilot these small planes have been taught from the age of 6 years old to do this special job. And that these pilots can hit any spot in America blindfolded, as the devil will soon see. And it's so much. And I would ask the brothers and sisters to get message to the black man. And sisters, it's not just for the black man. It's not. We come out of them, right? So it's us too.
Yes. Also, we've got to mention that these bombs have a timer on them, and that the messenger said that when they ignite, based upon the timer, like say if it went in a mile deep, that it would pop up a mountain a mile high, destroying everything that was in the way of its effect. And this is how mountains were created on this earth, by way of these type of explosions.
I was just wanting to comment. They're designed to drill into the earth, like upon contact, and it's written right here, 1 to 6 miles through stone. That they can drill from 1 to 6 miles through stone and rock and explode once they're in it, destroying civilization or any living matter or life within a 50-mile radius.
That's right, exactly, and that's where these bunker bombs, the idea of bunker bombs and the type of weaponry that you see coming from the United States military, this is where they get their ideas from. So when you sit there and you're like, wow, that sounded just like the bombs that they're using now. Well, who do you think revealed to them how to make these bombs? In 1930, a man came 9,000 miles with a supreme wisdom book, and he allowed them to see into it. And from that, they learned how to crack atoms. And if you go back into look at the timeline of technology. Before 1930, you had the iron days, the steel days, or steel ages. But after 1930, there was a quantum leap. Look at the technology advancements and the levels of the technology advancements since the coming and arrival of Master Fard Muhammad. Every day something new was coming out. But prior to that, oh, man, Stone Age, Iron Age, Steel Age, and there wasn't that much advancement until 1930. So go back and see. Someone came, and that person is Master Fard Muhammad. And also before I forget, I have some poetry that is also in my book. And if you don't mind, I would like to read some.
Oh, yes, sir. Please share with us.
Okay. All right. Just a moment. Let me get this poetry together here. And the reason why I introduced poetry is because, sometimes when you're about to get into a heavy subject, you want to give a person an appetizer, something that they're used to, before you give them something that is very, very different to what they normally read. And this story is called, this poem is called "Children Never Ask for Nothing," and it goes, so what he asked for ice cream. His wishes are simple. You know what I mean. So what she asked for jump rope. Her wishes are simple. You cope. So what? Baby cries for boo, boo. Baby doesn't want anything. You already know. What is it to you? What? How dare you ask me that? It's my life to be me. It's my life to be me. That's a father to every child in my very vicinity. That's a mother to every child who lost their mommy. That's me. Can't you see that's me? Your mirror is my mirror. If you would join me, let's see, because children never ask for nothing. They never ask for nothing. They don't know. They just love us, and they want to be us so they can grow. Children never ask for nothing. They just love us so much. Can you give yourself a hug that they can conjure up? So what if she asks you to take her to school, to be at her first show, and don't act a fool? So what if he asked you to comb his hair? He shouldn't have to ask. He should have to ask you, say, why did you give me that stare? So what if he stepped on your foot and hurt your little toe? She'd die for you if you let her mind grow. Don't tell me. I know. Children never ask for nothing. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for
sharing. I said a little bit on that, but that poem, it touches my heart every time I read it. It's like, because I'm a father, and the children of today, their prayers will be answered. And that dreadful wheel that is coming, you have better get familiar with it, because the prayers will not be gone for naught. The children of today, in my opinion, are the answers of our prayers, and they have prayers too, particular prayers that will be answered. And I want all of y'all to go and get my book, Journeys by Sinistar, because there's so much more electrifying poetry in it. And there's the amazing stories that will blow your mind, and the research as well. There's so much in this book. And I'm, again, writing my autobiography now, and that will be 100% real, my entire life story.
Yes, sir. I pray that Allah keeps us mindful, because I know from what I've already researched regarding your publications, you're definitely on point and truthful and unbiased. And yes, brothers and sisters, please get this book. Something you said makes me want to quote something that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had wrote, reprinted from Muhammad Speaks newspaper. He says, I warn you, my black people, that we are living in a time of change of worlds. One world is going out and another world is coming in. We have much to guard ourselves against being deceived by those who are going out, white race. The white race is doing everything that they possibly can to deceive the black man and take him out with them. For 40 years, I have been warning you of this day. Now you see it with your eyes and you hear it with your ears what is planned and carried into practice on you to destroy the black man and black woman, the black slave that the white slave masters had reared up themselves. So they don't want us to know that that's our people up there. They don't want to know our connection. They don't want us to know the connection that we have to the gods and the universe.
This is so amazing what you're saying, because it brings to me, it brings to mind a reality that it's so ridiculous for them to now be bearing witness to the reality of the wheels, that they exist, and then in the same breath say they don't know what their purpose is here.
No,
they don't know why they're here. And of course they know. How could something that you can bear witness has technology that is so vast, so beyond our technology, so amazing, so incredible? They fly and you can't hear them, and you can bear witness to all of that, but you can tell the public in the same breath that they haven't communicated the reason why they're here to us, that they've been amongst us for that long and haven't communicated. You want the American public to sit there and believe that? Oh, no. It's very plain that time will force the truth out of the minds of the oppressors. Time will force the truth to come out, and they will have to bow down and bear witness that Master Prophet Muhammad is, in fact, the Son of Man.
Yes, sir. And that's another thing. I had to copy this verse from the book of Malachi for those who say, well, why should we listen to Elijah? Why should we? What proves that he is from God? Oh, we have much proof. But then in the book of Malachi, it says some say, why should I listen? No, I'm sorry. That was actually my opinion. Some say, why should I listen to Elijah? And I would say to you, as is written in the book of Malachi, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet for the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Yes, Elijah is ordained. Yes, he is from Allah, and everybody's going to bear witness. And don't be on the side that waits too late. Because if you wait too late, you'll be submitting while God's wrath is coming down on you like Pharaoh. And when he went after the children of Israel with his soldiers, it's written in the Holy Quran that he submitted that Allah was God while Allah was killing them. Well, what purpose will that serve you then? Submit now, that you and your seed and your family may be saved.
That's right. And the beauty of the hereafter that Allah describes in the 36th surah, around the 55th verse, he says, surely the owners of the garden are on that day in happy occupation, and their wives are in shades reclining on raised couches and have fruits therein, and they have whatever they desire, peace, a word from a merciful Lord. This is what is awaiting us. This is the heaven that was here before the introduction of Satan in physical form. The heaven that we experienced was right here on earth. So we shouldn't look, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, we shouldn't be looking for a pie in the sky. We should be looking to correct the madness that is here so that we can experience heaven here on earth. And he said, place yourself in heaven at once and do not delay. And that heavenly state of mind should be achieved by those who say they believe.
Yes, sir. Let's read a few words what Mr. Louis Farrakhan said in an interview with Dr. Malsan, who interviewed him April the 13th, 2011, which was right after Savior's Day. Mr. Farrakhan starts in this paragraph where it says, it has been a above the top secret in the United States and in governments around the world, but more recently governments have decided to expose to their populace the reality of the existence of these so-called unidentified flying objects. Mr. Malsan asked Mr. Farrakhan, do you think it's time to let everybody know about this? Are we ready for this? Minister Louis Farrakhan responds, whether those in power think that it's time or not, it's immaterial or irrelevant, because these wills are now being seen over the major cities, and when human beings of intelligence can look up and see these phenomenon, or this phenomenon, how can you keep hiding it in the midst of thousands upon thousands of people now seeing them? And in the modern age of technology, with recording instruments and a telephone that is now in the hands of millions of people, then when they show themselves, the people are filming it. What can you say now? You can say it was swamp. You can say it was swamp gas yesterday. You can say it was a balloon. How could you say all these explain away techniques of masterful liars and artful deceivers? But today it is time, and now it is being made manifest. So somebody has to answer the question: what are they? Why are they here? Why have they been over all the atomic installations, not only in America, but all over the world? These wills will be seen over America by the millions in a few days. He says, I heard the other day that, and I don't know how true this is, that Hillary Clinton wanted the UFO files to be destroyed. I don't know the truth of that, but if they destroy all of their files, they can't destroy the wills. I know the truth of it, and soon the whole world will know the truth of it. If Mexico is willing to show what she knows, and France and Russia is willing, and China, she is willing, well, that's the whole world. So America is still going to stand by and act like it doesn't exist. Why would you take such a silly, unscientific, foolish position, America? Because you are the boss of the world, and you don't want anybody to think that you don't have the intelligence, the technology, the firepower to cope with what is above your head.
No, Akbar. That is a beautiful reputation.
That's why they try to keep it quiet, because they want to continue the false this illusion that they're the strongest, the most powerful. Even in their movies, 2012, all these movies, they always show that here comes the ships destroying and killing and tearing America apart. But then they always let you see that some white people are alive, so they're going to continue their wicked world on through that seed. No, it's not going down like that.
That's right. It's not. It's not. And I would ask all of you to go online and watch the Savior's Day presentation of the reality of UFOs by the Nation of Islam. It's on YouTube. You know, you should keyword UFOs and Nation of Islam and watch the Savior's Day Kevin Ryan presentation. He gave a great presentation during Savior's Day. I believe it's just recently in our last Savior's Day celebration, where we commemorate the birth of Master Prophet Muhammad on February 27th. And Kevin Ryan gave an extremely powerful presentation. If you go to YouTube and watch the Kevin Ryan presentation and also put in the search box Nation of Islam, Kevin Ryan is spelled K-E-V-I-N, Ryan is R-Y-A-N, and you will see a full presentation of actual facts and data from people who are non-members of the Nation of Islam, who came to share with us and their experiences. And we're talking top brass, people who really are reputable in this country and throughout the world who helped to bring this truth to light. So I would definitely recommend that. Also, and again, my book, Journeys by Sinistar. Definitely go out and get that.
And don't forget, read Message to the Black Man, brothers and sisters.
Right, Message to the Black Man.
Yes, listen, we have another caller, but I'm going to bring you on just a moment, caller. I just wanted to say, some Muslims have even said that, well, nothing about UFOs is written in the Holy Quran, but there is mention when it describes angels veiled in clouds. The angels use clouds as a covering and a veil.
Right.
They hide in clouds to be unseen until they are ready to be seen. And what we call alien is no other than something that is unknown. And surely Allah and His angels are unknown to the wicked and the rejectors of truth. And also, they also hide behind stars at night. From our vision, stars seem small, but in actuality, they're the size of small planets on average. So it's very, very easy for someone to, for one of our brothers in the plains to veil themselves beyond the stars. Well, brother, that caller decided to disconnect, so we're going to continue on. I just want to also make mention. There's this man named Dr. Edgar Mitchell. He's a lunar module pilot for the Apollo 14 mission. Dr. Mitchell was the sixth man to walk on the moon. And he said that it's rather clear that there has been a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and there has been a very active effort by people in the know to discourage public participation and the media's participation and discredit the era of UFOs, which seems to have been true for at least 50 years. And, of course, that's coming from his opinion of when he started taking notice, sight, and experience things of his own. And also denying the very existence of extraterrestrial presence or extraterrestrial existence. This is also what Dr. Mitchell says. And he says for over 30 years, it has been conventional wisdom in science and theology that made us believe that we were alone in the universe. And I don't think that people really believe that anymore, but back then it was conventional wisdom. And UFO reports have been going on for at least 20 years before that, or almost 30 years before that, and being denied, swept under the rug, and covered up and filled with misinformation. So we have, we have testimonies from pilots, from astronauts.
That's right.
All walks of life. From the highest position to the lowest, in millions, who will tell you, yes, they exist. I've seen them. I'm not crazy. I've seen them. Now, let me ask you something. What's crazy, to disbelieve what you're looking at right in front of your face, or to believe what you're looking at right in front of your face? I mean, which one is crazy?
That's amazing, because so many people have seen them. And I'm going to tell you about a few more experiences. Hopefully we have time. But before I do, I want to refer another video for anyone who still disbelieves. There was an incident that happened in 96, I believe. It was called the Tether incident. Tether spelled Tether. There was a STS-75 antenna. This antenna was developed to harness energy from the universe, which was going to save NASA lots of money and fuel and allow them, if this experiment was to be successful, it would allow them to harness energy and make trips into space that would be astronomical and amazing based upon the trajectory and amount of ground or space that they would cover in flight. It would save them a lot of money. Anyway, this antenna was about 15 miles long, and somehow it broke off from the shuttle, and it started floating into space. And as this happened, it seemed like thousands of wheels, so-called UFOs, appeared out of nowhere. Now, again, this tether was 15 miles long, and as it flew away or floated away from the cameras that were near it, behind it, miles away behind it, you could see significant structures or spheres floating behind it. And one scientist analyzed it, and he said, based upon the distance between those two objects, the tether and the spears that were pulsating with light, illuminating in sequence. He said based upon that, he can estimate that those spears are about 2.5 miles in diameter. Now, the Honorable Muhammad said at the date of the writing of the Supreme Wisdom and the publications of his books, and as he was here amongst us, he said that the Master Muhammad told him that there were 1,500 baby planes, as you mentioned, and one mother plane. But that was a long time ago. And today, you know, we are witnessing that it's possible that more have been made. I would recommend that everyone goes and checks out that video. Very good point. Yes, I would recommend that everyone goes and checks out that video because the scientist, I think his name was David Serrata, made and that was the David Serrata is spelled DAVID SEREDA. He gave an analysis of these wheels that was astronomical. I think he was near correct, you know, on how they fly and how they're able to dart at thousands of miles per hour and then make a hairpin turn without destroying themselves. And, you know, he made amazing analysis. He said that the metal on these wheels somehow turned into some kind of liquid form. Because he said if it was, I'm not sure if he said that, but he said that they almost look translucent. In fact, when you look at the tether incident, it's almost as if you could see through the wheel, you know, and that revealed that it's possible that they have a way of changing the metal so that they can move at high speeds and then turn without being destroyed. But the messenger said, and he gave us actual facts when he said that they were made like planets, and that they could turn and you could be inside of them and you wouldn't even feel it. Like we're on the planet right now rotating at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour and we don't feel it. He said that's how the mother plane is, you know. Yes. And that's just amazing. And let me just say this about experiences. I had one experience that was one of my greatest experiences with the wheel. And I'll reveal that at the right time. But I would say this, that when it gets cloudy, that's when I believe they are flying low. Like really
yes, sir. I bear witness.
Like, I bear witness. Like when it's foggy, you know, like really now. Foggy. Oh, yes, because you can sense their presence.
Right now, brother.
Huh?
All praises be to Allah. They know right now.
Oh, yes. It's foggy over there now?
Oh, yes. It was very cloudy. I recognize their presence in the clouds, too, especially when you see the deep shadows or when the wind's blowing but the clouds not moving. You know, those are things that to pay attention to.
One day I will reveal that vision or that experience that I had. I will probably reveal it on my show, which is the Sword of Resurrection show on Blog Talk Radio, and I will probably reveal it there at some time. But I have to pray on that. But that was one of my greatest experiences. It happened on a very foggy day. Very foggy day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's usually very gray outside because they're blocking the light. We're down to about 9 minutes of time, and I just want to shoot out a few statistics. Some of them are quite amusing, but it says that at least 4 million Americans say they have, not 4 million Americans, 4 million people worldwide said that they have been abducted by an alien creature. The first modern-day claim of an alien abduction was by Antonio Villas Boas in Brazil during the 1950s. Now, it says that 77% believe there are signs that aliens have visited Earth. 80% believe the government has kept information about UFOs secret from the public. It says 36% believe aliens have already visited the Earth. Now, with the movies portraying aliens, it's becoming increasingly convincing on the psyche of many. Well, depending on how the movies are portrayed and how the invasion is portrayed, then people's minds are altered and the movies subconsciously affect the people's attitude. With that, for example, 55% think that black men-style agents threaten those who report seeing aliens. 65% feel that President Barack Obama will handle an alien invasion better than Mitt Romney. And 21% think that the Incredible Hulk would be the first one to call in an invasion. 12% would call Batman, and 8% would call Spider-Man. Now, see how Hollywood can trip up your mind so much that you can't see the truth from a lie?
Yeah, and that's why, the devil is he's the author of confusion. He throws confusion in the mix to make you feel that it's not worth your time to even discuss this matter. He creates disbelievers and offers a world that is contrary to the world that would truly represent peace and the intent for Earth's creation, which is our heavenly home. And I would just have to say, those statistics, when I listen to something like that, that's all I see. I see the devil's work. He wants to mix truth with falsehood so that you would find a bitter taste in your mouth. But if you want the truth, look for sincere heart. There are people like myself out there who have experienced them, and also to add to what you were saying about abductions, in one of the in the Nation of Islam presentation, there was matter of fact, that was the one done by the Mexican brother. I forget his name, who's doing all the research. He also sent a video in, and he showed us that they found somebody who had some kind of marking on their arm or leg, and it was
yes, sir. You're talking about Dr. Masson, the one that
yes,
Mr. Farrakhan. Yes, I've seen that, and it was they put a device under the skin.
Yeah, they put the neon light on his skin, and he was able to see a marking that showed that something had put a mark on him, and that's how he was able to say, look, something did happen to him, and they were able to say, well, that mark is very, very strange, and you can only see it under the neon light, and I was like, after seeing that, I was like, I wonder if that happened to me, but I never got a light like that, indigo type of light, to see if that did happen to me. But I would have to say that these things are real, and I'm so thankful for being here because, to be able to bear witness is something that many people wish they could do. And I just want to say to you that, you should have faith, don't be scared to say what you've seen. Go to YouTube, keyword UFO. I mean, everybody's doing it. And not to mention also the strange sounds that people are hearing, which reflect, and I've heard them, very strange sounds.
And I go look into the sky for airplanes and everything, and you don't see anything.
And you don't see nothing, right? Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us about the sound that would come from the mother wheel, the mother frame, and he said that Allah would use that sound and he said that Allah would use that sound to destroy buildings. But we're hearing it. It sounds like a trumpet, like a horn.
Yes.
That's the sign of the messenger of God. And he is present through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So keep your eye on Minister Farrakhan. You want to know more about these teachings, go to NOI.org to learn about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his teacher, who is the Messiah, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir, that's right. Thank you, brother. All praises be to Allah. Allahu Akbar. Thank you. We thank you for coming and sharing the wisdom that Allah has granted you thus far, and we wish you great success farther than you've already accomplished in your life, because I know Allah has more for you to do.
Praise be to Allah. Do I have a minute? Because I forgot to mention something. Do we have a minute left?
Just a couple. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, all right. I want to invite everybody to download my latest single, Hard Liquor, spelled just like the bad drink. It's at Amazon.com by Sinistar, spelled Senistar. It's not promoting liquor, but it's talking about the drunken society and the idol worship in the music industry, in the political field of the world, and it's calling people out to atone and to take responsibility for the images that we are projecting throughout the world. It's a rap tune that is positive, and I would like everybody to go to Amazon.com or iTunes or Sinistar.com and download my new single. And we're going to also do a show on the Sword of Resurrection show on Blog Talk, July 24th at 6:30 p.m., and the show is called The Death of Police Brutality, Part 2, where we're inviting people who have been affected by police brutality to call in and testify. And we want to thank you so much. And if you'd like to lend your support, go to my company website, which is godswater7.com, where you can help us out and take advantage of the professional graphics, video, and photography services that we have there as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody appreciates you being here and speaking to us. I know I do, and may Allah bless you. And I'm going to end right now with a verse from the Holy Quran, Al-Nasiyat, those who tear out. By those angels who pull out the souls of the disbelievers, the wicked, with great violence, by those angels who gently take out the souls of the believers, and by those that swim along, an example, angels or planets in their orbits, and by those that press forward as in a race, and by those angels who arrange to do the commands of their Lord, so verily you disbelievers will be called to account. On the day the earth and the mountains will shake violently. Seek refuge in Allah. Seek refuge in Allah.